Hey guys, appreciate you joining us for our Thursday live training. We're going to tackle a variety of different topics from week to week. In fact, I got to apologize because last week I told you the story of one of our agents named John, and I buried the lead. So much so that I actually forgot about it altogether. So real quick, for those of you who didn't check us out last week, talked a little bit about a guy named John. I won't give his full name because he hasn't given me permission to share his full story. I don't want to embarrass him. But this guy signed up with us on September 5th. We got him all set up. We got his website, his tools together. And then we did some live training like we do with everybody who signs up with us. And within a couple of days, he was already posting free ads. And then he sent me an email a couple weeks later. And I got to say, I was blown away by the response. Now, it's not often, I see agents, achieve success with the program all the time, but it's not often that I'm blown away. And with this guy, I was, because at the time, he basically was reporting his results, and he had posted 15 listings on Craigslist. He used Craigslist, but the reality is we train him on all sorts of different platforms. But he used Craigslist, and he had generated, at the time, 55 new leads in about 2 weeks. Now, I want to give you a quick update because that's what I gave you guys last week. But John, since then, as of 5 minutes ago when I looked into his account, he's generated 133 leads. So that he started with us on 9/5. It's now 9/28. So 3 weeks, guys generated 55 leads. I said no, 133. I'm sorry, got my numbers all confused. Should have written it down somewhere. But here's the lead. Here's what I didn't explain last week. And I'm not surprised by the results, by the leads he's generated. What I am surprised by is this guy is 82 years old. Unbelievable. There's no more excuses for the rest of us. The guy figured out, our system. And again, I've seen this, but I'm always impressed when I see somebody, grab the bull by the horns like that. So anyways, I want to jump into our topic today. We're going to talk why your MLS is wrong on the days on market, on DOM. Because what a lot of agents don't know is the number that your MLS gives you is oftentimes off by 50% or more. In fact, I went and checked my numbers, and I found out that my MLS reported a DOM that was off by over 300%. And that's bad for a lot of different reasons. But I'm going to give you a quick way to calculate real days on market so that you can set expectations right with your buyers and sellers. So here's the reason why your MLS is wrong. Okay, your MLS is wrong on days on market because it doesn't include expireds, withdrawns. It doesn't include homes that were put on the market, taken off for 6 months or more. Now, I know most MLSs, if you only take it off for a little bit and put it right back on, they'll include that whole time. But it only includes the days on market, the average days on market for the homes that actually sell. And that's a problem because obviously we know, particularly if you're in a slower market, we know that homes oftentimes sit on the market, never sell. And if you don't factor those in, you're not getting a real picture of how the market works. So I'll give you an example. I just looked up our MLS statistics, and it's reporting here in Fayetteville, North Carolina, an average DOM of 77 days. That's pretty average, pretty typical, across most of Middle America. And I know some of you guys are like, wow, we can barely have a house sit on the market for a week. Well, I'm glad that that's your market, but ours is a little bit slower. 77 days is the average. That's what the MLS is reporting anyways. But when you actually look into the numbers, as I'll show you, the real days on market for us is about 240 days. And that's a big difference. In your MLS, your real DOM may be not quite that big of a difference from the one reported by your MLS, but I can almost guarantee you that the DOM reported by your MLS is inaccurate. And I'll show you real quickly. I'll walk you through how you can easily calculate your real average DOM. So, first thing you're going to do is you need to log into your MLS. You need to pull up the number of homes that have sold in the last 12 months. Okay, You're going to take that number and you're going to write it down on a piece of paper. Then you're going to take the second number that you're going to be looking for is you're going to want the number of homes that are active on the market right now. So for me, the number of homes sold in my market was 5,855. The number of active listings currently on the market is 3,904. And again, my market's different. Feel free to put in, whatever your market's, and you can define what your market means. It may mean a suburb, it may mean, your whole area. The idea is you can actually calculate the days on market with this method with any market segment, even a subdivision. And of course, the more raw numbers, the raw data that you put into it, the better, the more accurate your DOM will be statistically. So I'm going to take that top number, the number of homes sold in the last 12 months, and I'm going to divide that number by the number of homes that are actively on the market right now. So when I do that, I get right under 1.5. And what that number is that's my absorption rate. And some of you are familiar with absorption rate. They teach that a lot, sometimes anyways, in real estate school. And what that really is a representation of is how many times is the inventory turning over in a given, a given time or time period. So I have that absorption rate, and then I want to turn that absorption rate into days. So basically, I'm going to take 1.5. I'm going to divide 365 days or divided by 1.5, and boom, I have an accurate days on market. That's where I get that 240. In fact, the real number is 243 for my market. So 243 days on market. Now you can see how this would be a problem if I go and take a listing and I tell my seller, hey, the average days on market is 77 days, and then it doesn't sell, and it's day 90 at this point, and my seller's going, hey, what the heck's going on? I thought you told me it was going to sell in 77 days. Obviously, if I have a real days on market and I go ahead and set the expectations right from the beginning, hey, look, in this market, your average days on market is 243 days. So you're not trying to be a doomsayer, but you are trying to be realistic. And the reality is, because of that, I oftentimes don't even take listings that are less than 6 months because of the market realities that I'm dealing with. I don't want to spend money on marketing. I don't want to spend my time unless there's a high likelihood that I'm going to sell it during that time, just statistically speaking. Now, the other thing that helps with expectations is explaining to the customer what days on market actually means. Because what it means and what the sellers or buyers oftentimes hear are two different things. So when I say the average days on market is 243 days, what they hear is, well, it's going to sell in 243 days. But from a mathematical standpoint, that's not exactly what it means. It means we have a 50% probability of selling within 243 days. In other words, it's a coin flip. And so, again, in the interest of setting expectations, I want to be very clear about what days on market means. So I just walked you through some of the math, but I'm going to make it even easier for you. If you go to the link in this video, recalculators.com, there's actually a calculator specifically to calculate days on market, and you don't even have to break out your calculator and do the math. You go on this website, you enter in the number of homes in your market segment that you're trying to calculate, the number of homes sold, and the number of active listings, and it'll do the math for you. It'll spit out an average days on market for you. It makes it super easy. And in fact, while you're there, you feel free to check out some of the other calculators, business planning. In fact, one that goes really well with days on market, particularly when you're preparing a listing presentation, is the sale probability. So like I said, the average days on market is, probability of about 50-50. If you want to figure out what the probability is for, a higher days on market or lower days on market, you can actually figure it down to the day. This will give you a 90% probability, etc. So I hope you guys check that out and enjoy it. It's a free tool. It's available to anybody. And of course, if you have any questions about how to use those, feel free to post in the comments below. So, do want to remind you we do these live trainings every Thursday at 2 p.m. And what I'd ask is that in the comments below, of course you can post your questions, but what I'd love to hear is just how does your market, if you go in and calculate this DOM, the way that I've talked about, how different is it from the one reported by your MLS? I'd be curious to see. I know mine's pretty far off, but I know most markets are going to be at least somewhat off. And so I'd love to hear, once you actually use this method to calculate a real DOM, I'd love to hear in the comments below exactly how different it is. So feel free to post, feel free to share this video. We'd love any support that you've given us, and you guys have a great day.